The mayor of London is Muslim. The mayor of Birmingham is a Muslim. The mayor of Leeds is Muslim. The mayor of Blackburn is Muslim. The mayor of Sheffield is Muslim. The mayor of Oxford is a Muslim. The mayor of Luton is a Muslim. The mayor of Oldham is a Muslim. The mayor of Rochdale is a Muslim. All of this was achieved by only 4 million Muslims out of the 66 million people in England. Today, in England, there are over 3,000 mosques. There are over 130 Sharia courts in England, and there are more than 50 Sharia councils. 78% of Muslim women do not work and receive state support and free accommodation. 63% of Muslims do not work and receive state support and free housing. State-supported Muslim families have an average of 6 to 8 children who all receive free accommodation. Every school in the UK is required to teach about Islam. The number one most common baby name in England is Muhammad. This is not immigration. This is invasion.
In 1913, Sarah Rector, a 10-year-old black girl, received a land allotment of 160 acres in Oklahoma. The best farming land was reserved for white settlers, so she was given a barren plot. However, oil was soon discovered on her land, and she became the country's first black child millionaire. Breaking H.R. 1526 passes the U.S. House to limit district court judges' authority to issue orders blocking presidential policies nationwide. No more activist judges. Boy, barely eke by there by 4 votes, huh? There's nothing in the Constitution that says ordinary Americans have a right to see what we're spending our tax dollars on. Is that right? Says Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas. Is that right? Percentage of millionaires in Congress, 50%. Percentage of millionaires in the rest of the United States, 1%. Interesting. Soros got $260 million from USAID. Chelsea Clinton received $84 million. Ted Speaks didn't receive a nickel. They didn't ruin America with their own money. They used ours.
On the day Donald Trump leaves office, the Justice Department may indict him.
Very strongly in favor of indicting the president when he is out of office.
I don't think the incoming president should be threatening his political opponents with jail time. That's not the kind of talk we should hear from a president in a democracy.
This is what people love about Donald Trump. The fact that he would say this.
Socialism promises prosperity, but it delivers poverty. Socialism promises unity, but it delivers hatred and it delivers division. Socialism promises a better future, but it always returns to the darkest chapters of the past. Socialism is a sad and discredited ideology rooted in the total ignorance of history and human nature, which is why socialism eventually must always give rise to tyranny. We know that socialism is not about justice. It's not about equality. It's not about lifting up the poor. Socialism is about one thing only: power for the ruling class.
For the international order that we have worked for generations to build. Ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights.
You just have to flood a country's public square with enough raw sewage. You just have to raise enough questions, spread enough dirt, plant enough conspiracy theorizing that citizens no longer know what to believe. Once they lose trust in their leaders, in mainstream media, in political institutions, in each other, in the possibility of truth, the game's won.
And yet this is the guy that they want to tell us is some horrible, terrible, no good, very bad person. Check this out.
So the taxpayers essentially loaned you, Tesla, almost $500 million. How much of that do you still owe?
So we paid the whole loan back with interest and a prepayment penalty last year.
Did you have to do that? It wasn't due, was it?
No, it was not due for, I think, another 10 years or something.
Why did you pay it off early?
The taxpayers supported Tesla. We ought to repay them as soon as we can. Since we had the ability to do it and the stock markets were good, we thought, let's pay it back with interest and a thank you note, by the way, which I said, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Who thinks Elon's heart's in the right place? I do. Certainly couldn't have made a lot more money, could have turned it over a few more times. They had a fixed interest rate. The whole idea, folks, in moving forward with money and making yourself wealthy is use other people's money. It's called leverage. And that's exactly what the banks have been doing with you. And the thing is, they're using your money, also known as purchasing power, and giving you a piece of paper for it that isn't worth the paper it's not even printed on because it's all digital. Do you see what's going on here? They're using your money, but not just yours. They're using 8.1 billion people's money each and every day. For how long? 30 days at least. How long are you keeping your money in a savings account? It's not money, folks. It's digital fiat currency. It should be turned into money. If you have a CD, IRA, or anything like that that's digital, especially with all the talk about IRS going away, take constructive receipt of what you own and put it into the coin of the realm and put it underneath your bed, put it someplace that no one knows about, and then join the Ted Head group and let's have some fun traveling. We're going to help you with get your estate planning done. So wherever you're keeping your assets or you're keeping your stack of silver is titled the proper way. Because if you're keeping it in your own name right now, sooner or later, you will die or you will become incapacitated and then die. In that particular instance, do you want the courts coming in, the state mandated probates to happen in order to change title from that property to somebody else, even though you know who you want to leave it to? It's that process is transferring the title from you to someone else. That's the issue. So what I'm suggesting is let's change title now while we're alive and competent into a legal mechanism that allows you to the same type of control that you currently have. And you use the same Social Security number. The only time you use a different tax ID number is when you go to an irrevocable trust. Let's not talk about irrevocable trust. We're talking about revocable living trusts. That's why I'd like you to get the book. These things are $9.95, okay, at the Golden Eagle coin. I asked Vicky Schumacher, know her fairly well, we've been using them for 20 some years, to please let's give these books away as best we can. So, well, Ted, how much money do you want out of this? I said, I don't want any money out of it. You wrote the book, you did it, you deserve the credit for it. All I want to do is continue using it like it did for 27 years. This is what we used. Folks, inside of here, it's real easy to read. And I've noted that there's all kinds of stickies and stuff. This will become part of your heirloom for your children. And what will happen with this, it'll key into what's called a revocable living trust-based estate plan, your estate planning portfolio. Isn't this a lot better than simply having a will here, an advanced healthcare power of attorney, a power of attorney here, insurance lists over there, all this kind of stuff? It's a lot better to have it simply in one binder. And that's what you're going to wind up with if you decide to come with Ted Head. So get your Ted Head starter pack right now. Comes with a hat and all that kind of jazz. And also comes with a roll of dimes. So, folks, the roll of dimes is designed to more than cover the cost of everything you are going to get as being a Ted Head. Because that roll of dimes, folks, is going to eclipse the value and eclipse the cost of everything else. Every $100,000 in bank gets you $10,000. $10,000 in bank gets you $76. Ooh, what's this? Total deposits in U.S. banks are probably $18 trillion as of Q3 2024. The FDIC Deposit Insurance Fund (DIF) stood at $137.1 billion. We talked about this before. It's called the FDIC Deposit Insurance Fund, the DIF. And there's an association of 98 of these. One of the guys that Ted speaks is high up inside the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, down there in Arlington, and was telling us, Ted, there's no money down there. There's nothing. It's all a bunch of air. And I said, well, why are you guys charging premiums to banks to insure the money that you don't have the money to earn the premiums on? He said, well, if we did that, then the whole thing would be up in the air. They would know that the emperor has no clothes. I said, oh, okay. So for every $10,000 in deposits, the U.S. government has $76. Why don't we take the $10,000 out and get yourselves a half a bag of dimes or something, 1,000-faced dimes? Doesn't that seem risky to you all to have that little money in there backing up what your deposits are? Remember, I told you there's less than 3% in the M2 money supply to negotiate against what it is you think you actually own.